So Tina, let's talk about a few specific techniques for effective facilitation. To begin with, what do you do when nobody wants to answer your question?
That's a tough one. You're up there all by yourself, you ask a question.
And it's silence.
Crickets. In fact, I have the Crickets app on my iPhone, and sometimes I'll play that and get a laugh out of that. Well, this is where setting the ROEs in the very beginning can really save you, because I've already told my students, if I ask a question, I'm not going to answer my own question, and I don't. Interestingly, some training I went to, they said that a lot of instructors, when they ask a question, will give 7 seconds before they answer their own question. So if I answer it, now I've taught my students, oh, you don't need to answer it, I'll answer my own question. I'll stand there. I'll just stand there and look at them. And does it get a little awkward? Yeah. Yes, it can get a little awkward. But eventually, someone will even meekly speak up, and I'll applaud them for answering, and we'll go from there. But I won't answer my own question.
What do you do when someone asks a question that's either a distraction or off track from where you're going?
Yeah. Sometimes you might get a student or a cadet who's being funny, or maybe a little flippant, or maybe they really are a little off track. And unless it's really rude or very disrespectful, I'll just go with it, and I may say, oh, that's interesting. You know, tell me more about that. Help me understand what you mean by that. Or I might even ask other students, so what do y'all think about what Cadet so-and-so just said? Not in a not in a way to demean that cadet, but just to say, okay, what do you guys think about that? And usually you'll have one or more who will say, oh, I think this, or not sure what he or she meant by that. So I never want to demean or belittle anyone, any student in my classroom, but I will definitely try to get more information on, you know, where they came up with that response.
What happens if the whole group heads off on a rabbit trail and you can see that your time is kind of going down the drain and the discussion is going down the rabbit hole?
It's interesting, yes, especially if there's a hot topic going on at the school or in this group of students at one time, or maybe something going on in the world. Mm-hmm. They may just want to rabbit trail down into this one topic, and it's easy for us as instructors or facilitators to go right down there with them. So if you find you're doing that, just realize it, recognize it, stop and say, wow, this is a great discussion around this point, or we've really covered some ground here. But for the sake of time and for the sake of the lesson and the objectives that we set out, let's get back on track, and either once we're done with the lesson, if you all want to stay and talk more, we can do that, or maybe you know, we'll come back tomorrow, whatever the situation is and the time. But definitely thank them for their input, stop that conversation, get back on track, but do it in a way where you're keeping the door open to continue the conversation at a later time.
We've all had the experience of Cadet Billy and Cadet Susie having a side conversation when you're trying to do something else completely different with the group.
Yes.
How do you deal with side conversations?
Yes. There's a few things that I'll do depending on the situation, depending on the amount of talking. So one of the things I've found that works really well for me, if I'm talking, because I tend to walk around my classroom a lot. I don't stay up front. I like to walk around, is I will continue doing what I'm doing, but I'll walk and stand right next to the cadets having the conversation. They know why I'm there. And I don't have to say anything. I just continue on, and I just go stand next to them. Or if I find that I'm losing several cadets, you know, there's a few different side conversations going on, I'll stop talking. and I'll just stand there in the front of the room and look around. And it's interesting because those cadets who are paying attention, they know. And they don't want these side conversations either. They're trying to learn. So then you'll hear them start shushing each other. And I may even say something like, your time's important to me. It's important to me to honor your time. And for us to, complete this lesson on time, if not maybe a couple minutes early, I really need you to be engaged. Because the more I have to stop because of side conversations, the longer this lesson is going to take. And that's usually motivation for them to engage. So those are some of the things that I'll do. If it's just really out of hand, I'll stop and I'll remind them of the ROEs. Hey, remember at the beginning we said one person at a time talking. Right now it's me. Or if another cadet is talking and people are still having conversations while this cadet is trying to talk, I'll stop. Say, remember, one person at a time. Your classmate has something, or your squad mate is saying something very important. So please direct your attention, be respectful to him or her. And typically they'll get back on track because they do want to be respectful and they do want to hear what each other has to say.
So we've all had that experience when it's a Tuesday night in July, it's 95 degrees outside, and it's either really low energy in the room or everybody's just wanting to go to sleep. How do you get over that?
Right. Well, first I take it very personally. No, I'm just kidding. I get it. It's late at night. It's hot. It's been a long day. So one of the things that I've found is a lot of fun, and it does not take long, is I may have them get up and do a quick rock, paper, scissors. And not just doing, going through the motions, but I'll have them stand up and I'll say, okay, everybody find a partner, do one round of rock, paper, scissors, and whoever wins that round, go find another winner. And whoever lost, or the person that the winner beat, which is the person who lost, you follow them and you cheer for them as loud as you can. And so all of a sudden the room gets into this huge, loud uproar. And then I'm like, winners find winners, winners find winners. And they're all cheering and screaming and chasing each other around the room until we finally have two winners. And I call it the Thunderdome. All right, we got the two world champion candidates in the Thunderdome, and half of them are cheering on this side and half of them are cheering on that side, and it's loud. And then they do rock, paper, scissors for the world championship. And maybe, I don't know, maybe I'll have some candy or something, or we'll applaud them. But it gets them up, it gets them moving. And at the same time, I will tie a lesson into that. Then, and I'll ask them once they kind of get settled and sit back down, how many times do we cheer for people who beat us? How many times, if we're both up for cadet of the quarter or something like that, and one person wins over me, how often do I cheer for them? How often do we cheer for each other and really encourage each other? Whether we've won or lost something, and what would that do to our team or to our squadron if we were all able to do that for each other. So there's a nice little lesson in there on teamwork and really supporting and encouraging each other.
And then we can pull that right back in and tie it into our core values again and say, which of our core values does this relate to?
Absolutely. Yeah. Very good. So it's a lot of fun, gets them up and moving, and then you can get them back on track, thinking about something that they can take from that.
So we've also all had the experience of someone asking a question of me, and I don't know the answer. What do you do?
Yes. That's hard because you want to know we know what we're talking about, but you want to have all the answers. Invariably, you're going to get a question where maybe you're not sure or you just flat out don't know the answer. The very worst thing to do when you're up in front facilitating is to make something up. Make up an answer, or because, you know, I don't want to look like I don't know what I'm talking about. The best thing to do, be real, be authentic, be genuine, and simply say, wow, that's a great question. You know, I'm not sure. Let me find out and I'll get back to you. Or maybe another cadet in the room knows the answer. Does anybody have that information? But be real and be genuine, and your cadets actually will really appreciate you saying, you know what, I'm not 100% sure, and I'll get back with you. And then the key is you have to then find out and get back with them. But don't be afraid not to know the answer in front of your cadets.
Thank you, Tina. These are some great pointers. So as you think through the things that we've talked about, again, be considering how in your next squadron meeting you can begin to incorporate some of these into what you're doing with your cadets.